Okay, guys, we're going to be talking today about vocabulary for our new habitat, oceans. So, we're going to be thinking about oceans and some important words to help us describe oceans. Okay, so the first important word to help us describe oceans is reef. A reef is a spot in the ocean where there's lots of coral. Coral are kind of like plants. Coral are technically alive, so they're technically animals, but they sit in one spot and lots of fish live there and live around them. Lots of fish use a coral reef as their home. If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, they live in a reef where there's all those other fish and lots of colorful coral and places for the fish to hide. So a reef is inside the ocean, and it's a spot where lots of small fish live and live together, and they all kind of work together. Some fish, like the clownfish and the anemone, they live in a reef and they work together to keep each other alive. Plankton is our next word. Plankton, and this is not like Plankton from SpongeBob. So if you watch SpongeBob, this is a little bit different from the guy named Plankton on there. But plankton are teeny, itty bitty, tiny little creatures in the water that get eaten by bigger fish and other animals. You could not see plankton with your eyeballs. You would have to get a microscope to see it. But if I say this animal eats plankton, this is what I mean. I mean, it eats the teeny, tiny little things that swim in the water, the teeniest little creatures that you can't see with your eyeballs. This picture was only taken because of a microscope, and they could take some ocean water and put it on the microscope and see the plankton in it. But if you were just out there swimming, you wouldn't see it. This is a trench, okay? A trench. So a trench is kind of like a big, deep, long hallway in the ocean. It's like a valley, but it's very deep. And they can pop up in a lot of places. There's some famous trenches where special kinds of fish live. In a trench, you're going to have different kinds of fish than you have in other places in the ocean. The reason for that is because it's very dark. In a trench, it's very deep. In a trench, it's very cold. So those fish that live down there have to have adaptations to live in a trench. Have you ever, in Finding Nemo, seen the part where Dory is going, swim through it, not over it, through it, not over it, and they swim over it, and they run into all those jellyfish? That was a trench. So the deep, kind of like a hallway in the ocean that can be very cold, very scary looking, is a trench. Also in Finding Nemo, they go down into a trench when they see the lanternfish and they have to get the goggles, and she's going, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. They're swimming down into a trench in that section of the movie. So maybe we should watch Finding Nemo. Seems like a lot of things from the ocean that we're talking about today. They have a lot of these things in that movie, don't they? A trench is a deep hallway that's dark in the ocean. Okay, we're going to remind ourselves about 4 words now, actually. Predators. Remember that predators are animals that eat other animals. The example I have here is a killer whale or an orca whale. We know that they eat penguins, they eat seals, but did you know that orca whales will even eat sharks? They are top of the food chain. Orca whales are top of the food chain. So they are a big predator. They will eat anything, and they are pretty tough. So they're a predator. A predator is an animal that eats and hunts other animals. And then we have prey. You can see my 2 swordfish here, and they're about to eat those smaller fish. The smaller fish are the prey. The swordfish are the predators. Okay, so the smaller fish are what's getting eaten, the prey. In the savannah, prey would have been a zebra, and a predator would have been a cheetah. In other places, sometimes plants can be the prey if that's what's getting eaten, but the prey is whatever is about to get eaten. So that's a reminder about the word prey. Next up, we have a reminder about the word vertebrates. Remember, vertebrates means that it has a backbone inside of its body. Okay, so vertebrates is going to have a backbone inside of its body. And then invertebrates do not have a backbone inside of their body. And there's some examples like a crustacean, like a crab or a lobster, and a jellyfish or a starfish or a worm. Lots of worms in the ocean, actually. Like, they're called sea worms, which is kind of funny. There's worms in the ocean too. But when we're doing the ocean habitat, there's going to be a lot more invertebrates than we had in the savanna habitat, and that's just because the ocean is a good place for them to live. It's a good place where they can move easily in the water. If you don't have a backbone, you can still move pretty good in the water. So that's why there's a lot of invertebrates in this habitat. So I wanted to remind us about predator-prey, vertebrates and invertebrates, and go over some new words that we were going to need in our toolbox to learn about the ocean habitat. So I will see you guys next time when we talk about vocabulary, and have a great day.